No. What it does is this. See, you have brought a new breath, to the entire conversation, which is what this program is all about, so that our viewers can also become better guided in the way they relate to life. Now, also tangential to this will be the question of how young persons are beginning to present themselves. Sex seems to be the mood now. You just get into mood, and that's it. Your dressing, your manner of speaking, the outings that you have in your relationships, the main currency is just sex. I mean, it's so right in your face now. It's not like when you were growing. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I mean, it was like a taboo, But now it's like. So, what exactly is that? Is that?
It's unfortunate, to say the least. It's unfortunate. Why? If you have read Ribbons and Rings, a book that I authored in relation to this, it talks about permutations. What do I mean? Today, there are 3 or 4 ideas that have been propounded that people are falling for. 1, love is equal to sex. If you love me, you must have sex with me. Who gave that impression? Wherever that came from, I don't get it. But clearly, and pardon me, because even the media, which has become the outlet for sharing some of these ideas, all the movies we see today, one young man says, I love you. The next thing, the very next scene is that they are on a bed. If they are not on a bed, there's a suggestion that they are going to get into bed. So young people are thinking that, love is equal to sex. That is not correct. Love is not simply a matter of emotion. Love is not simply something that requires that I must give you my body. Believe me, anybody who talks about love, who talks about sex, and equates the two together has a problem in their understanding. Love is not about sex. Love is a commitment. Love is a commitment that says, look, I respect you for who you are, and I will be there for you. Because why? I'm a pastor. The Bible says God showed us love while we were yet sinners. Christ did what? Died for us. It was an example of a demonstration of affection. So when people equate love and sex, there's a problem. Then they say again, love is equal to feeling. Believe me, feeling goes away. Feeling. How many times have you felt that you love somebody? The butterflies are flying your tummy. You are fainting.
And your head is.
And then when you wake up tomorrow morning,
you
go like, what was doing me yesterday? So love cannot be feeling. Love is a commitment. Because all of us who are married can tell you that if love were mere feeling, we should have married 10 other people
thereafter,
because the feeling, one day you will offend one another. You will not feel like you are in love.
Yes.
You won't feel that you are in love. But when love is a commitment, then you know that this is a relationship we are building together, we are working upon together, and you will work at it.
Yes.
And then people say again, people say love is like a contract. Once I can get what I want from you, I can get from you. That's where the sex works the most. The boy can get sex, the girl can get sex.
Money.
As long as they are enjoying it together, it goes on. But they forget, for every contract, there are other attendant implications. When there is a contract, it is not just a one-page document. There will be many other clauses.
The shorter notes.
All of them written in. So every time you give one man sex because you love him, tomorrow you give another. Before you know, your life has become shared in multiple folds. So guess what happens? You sleep with Mr. A today, you sleep with Mr. B tomorrow, Mr. C tomorrow. You form a platform where you cannot, in all honesty, trust any of them.
Or even trust yourself.
No, you can't. And if I'm married to you, and I know that you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the subject of trust in relationship becomes questioned. So these are realities that we must deal with. Sex must never be equated to love. Love must not be equated to sex.
I like that. Now, that's only one of the books that you wrote. But you have pointed out that the media seem to have helped in a way to create this false lifestyle.
Yes.
But shouldn't people on their own, from family background, be made to be who they should be? I mean, I'm sure when you were dressing up, all this sagging that was going on now that we see everywhere now, I'm sure you couldn't have gone home to see your parents with your trousers half down your bottom.
I couldn't have won them in school, not to talk of going home.
So
I would have been big trouble.
Well, children wear this at home now.
Unfortunately, what have we seen? I'm a younger man in terms of generations. But believe me, my generation went through school knowing that you dressed smartly to indicate that you were a responsible person. Today, we have a generation that somewhat has been told that the way you appear really doesn't matter. I went to the bank one day. This was some years ago. I was on leave. I went to the bank. I wanted to get some money. I got to the gate. It was in the days when at the bank, I don't know if you remember, there will be one security staff who will stay there with a padlock on the gate. And before you come in, then they will open, you walk in, they will lock it back. Yes. So I went and I got there. I was wearing knickerbockers. I'm a pastor. I went there. I was on leave. I thought, what the heck, let me be simple.
Yes.
I got to the bank to go in. Then the gate man asked me, what do you want? I said, what do you mean, what do I want? I'm going in there. He said, for what? I said, I have money here that I'm going to get. And he said, he looked at me again. Then he said, where's the evidence? Fortunately, I had my check. That was when he allowed me in. Honestly, he taught me a lesson. When I got into the banking hall, went to the ladies who were at the customer service to check my balance. They looked at me and looked at me. I kept on wondering, what is wrong with me? Until I left that place, I then told myself I'll do something. Now, I'm a dramatic person. I wore my wedding suit. This must have been 2 years or thereabouts after I got married. So I wore my wedding suit, wore my shirt, wore my tie, went back to the same bank. As I got to the bank, the young man at his gate said, welcome, sir. Open the door. This same you. This same me, not anybody else. Walked in, got to the ladies. You're welcome, sir. Have a seat, sir. I was feeling very good, believe me. It was after they checked my balance that the approach changed a little, you know. But the point I'm making is this. Your appearance matters. Your appearance speaks volumes. You sag your trouser, you go on the road, you wear all kinds of hairstyles, all kinds of designs. Have you seen anyone looking for a responsible person who is looking for someone like that? Forget all the stories that we read, all the pictures that we see, all the pop idols of today. No one would invite them and say, come and run our organization for us. No one will say, I have a bank, you wear sagging all around, please take over. No one's going to do that. There are principles that guide our dressing. In Dress to Kill, my book, there are principles that speak to why you should wear what you wear. The principle of discernment, the principle of decorum, the principle of distinction. These are things you should think about every time you dress up. You are communicating a message. Every time you come to me as pastor, a lady who needs help, wants pastor to pray for him, and half of your cleavage, or almost all, is there for me to see. What should I pray for, the cleavage or you? There's a problem. You expect my attention to be on you, but there is something there that is going to not only block prayer, it's going to create trouble for me.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yes.
So these are serious issues. When you dress like that, you are communicating a message. The principle of desire. What do you want people to see? What do you want them to think about you? When you step on the road and you are waiting for a cab, I tell you another story. A lady stood by the road waiting for a cab. One nice car drove past, then it reversed, and the person said, hello. She said, fine, where are you going? Can I give you? He said, no, don't worry, sir. He insisted. And then she said, okay, I'm going. So he said, I'm going that way too. She stepped into the car. They rode for a few minutes, and he said, please, one moment. Let me just branch and get something. So he turned into this place, nice place, got down. No, before he got down, he said to her, can we go in? The lady said, for what, sir? He said, you know now. She said, I don't know. What do you mean? He said, okay, look, I will pay you whatever it is that you will take. She said, I don't understand. He said, why are you playing hard to, whatever your price is, I will pay. Then the lady suddenly realized he had taken her for a hookah. Yes. And then she said, no, sir, you insult me. Did I beg you for a ride? Blah, 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 blah. She started, and the man said, don't take it so harsh. I double whatever you will collect.
As far as he's concerned, she just asked for more.
And then she went on blasting, I'm a born-again Christian, tongue-talking, demon-chasing, fire-breathing, and people started gathering. And then the man said, come, are you serious? He said, am I serious? The Lord God of heaven will fight for me. All these things. And then the man said, wait, you were standing where they stand. And you were dressed the way they dress. So, how was I supposed to know? Simple. The way you appear communicates a message. And young men who think that by sagging, they are only following the trends. Believe me, when I see you sagging, I will ask myself, is this one a sample of a dangerous kidnapper? The sample of give and take. If Kai were picking people at Obalende, and you were dressed the way you are dressed now,
you are likely to be picked.
You are likely to be picked. How do they know you are not a tout? How do they know? So we are talking about serious issues here, and young men want to make a value in life must understand that their presentation speaks volumes. If I came in here today, Fola, and I had earrings all over, all kinds of hairstyle, and I said, I'm Pastor this, you would have said, let's discuss before we go on. You know.
All right, thank you very much, Samson. You're talking like your deadlocked Samson, the biblical one. Now, let's help ourselves, though.
Yes.
Should we just think that the young persons or the youths are totally disconnected from the values that we were trying to identify here, or is that on our own part? Is it that the society has failed to pass on the messages appropriately for them to follow? I think we should be able to do that, so we can help ourselves out of the mess.
I completely agree with you. I think it's dangerous also because some of what we have said, young people may think we have been very harsh on them. But the reality is this. Society, and perhaps the older folks, carry a large share of the blame. Young people, when I was growing up, society helped to train me. The values that my parents were giving me were reinforced by society. I didn't come out of the house to hear that it was all right for me to cheat in an exam. On the contrary, if I was caught cheating, they would first deal with me outside and then bring a report home to tell my parents, and then I will be in bigger trouble. What has happened to society? Society now has now allowed that the same parents, unfortunately, a large chunk of parents who were groomed properly have now grown up, and in a bid to say my kids should not suffer, have now encouraged all kinds of things. And the young man picks up values from our action. You cannot,
what you're saying.
No, you can't expect him to hear, don't cheat, and then you go to pay for him to get an admission. You can't hear from, you can't be telling him, my dear, it's not good for young girls to be sleeping around. Yet, she knows that you have 4 or 5 girlfriends all across town. It does not work like that. So society is a problem. The Lord will have to help us. Corruption in the system means that young men do not really see the value in working hard. They don't. Because if one man can today filter away billions of dollars and
walk away without being
punished, be celebrated with a chieftaincy title, traditional institutions give him a chieftaincy title, then the young man says to himself, if I get double of what he got, I will get double chieftaincy title. I will get double followership. I can run for political office. And when I run for political office, I will add to it. And guess what? Members of our families now think that when somebody has stolen money, we as family members will be supporting him and saying people don't like him because he's our family member. We are celebrating him now. If it is another person, we'll be the one saying that's corruption. So society itself is disconnected. And the change must begin from leadership. Leadership must demonstrate that except somebody makes a sacrifice, somebody pays the price to say, okay, look, I will pay the price to bring about
change,
a corrupt-free society. Then young men can begin to believe. Do you know that all the young folks we have in Nigeria, they are looking for someone to follow? If they find someone to follow, they will. The reasons they follow other people is because they seem to find something to connect to them. 1,001 young men will rise up tomorrow if they find a leader who is truly genuine and willing to stay free of corruption.
Great. Now, that is pushing us to some areas that we should be looking at. You have published a couple of books. You just mentioned some of them now. Dress to Kill. I have some here. Ribbons and Rings. That seems to say to us that the educational background was deeply and profoundly rooted.
Yes.
Do we still have the same structure now? Do you think our young people are being fed with the right amount of quality information, either in terms of even faculties, in terms of the contents they're getting and all that? Do we have that kind of...
There's a challenge. There is education, but we don't know if education is the same for everyone now. Unfortunately, we have a dichotomy today, and we must face that reality. Kids who are able to go to private schools, quality private schools, pardon me to qualify that.
Paying millions.
Yes, quality private schools are more likely to get good education. Whether that translates into good life is another matter. Kids who do not have the privilege of going to public schools, of going to private schools, but end up in the public schools, will suffer immensely. Today you hear grammar and you wonder. Look, I had bad grammar when I went to school. It's not that things were perfect. I went to a public primary school, so it was tough. My first year in the secondary school, which was a mission school, my very first term was a big challenge. I would be saying, I went third year. I goes in.
I was not there.
And those who went to primary will start laughing. It took a couple of months for me to shape up. But I shaped up. I shaped up because I had the opportunity to shape up. I went into university. I did not have the privilege of going to a private university. I went to a public university. But I was not given the liberty. Things were not perfect. Things were already going down. But I was not also allowed to just act anyhow. I had the support of my family, the support of my church, the support of mentors who insisted that I stay on board. Now, today, we have a system where the public schools, give and take, you are not too sure you want to put your kids there. Even if they say to you, don't pay any money, just put them there, we'll train them. You are not too sure the person who will train is himself qualified enough to train. So you hear the grammar of someone who is a teacher and you are wondering, what is the student going to pick? You hear the grammar of someone who is trying to... I mean, you worry. So we have that challenge educationally. But it can be improved. Things can get better if only there is a will in leadership. Everything they say rises and falls on leadership. So,
but the leadership role for the church, for instance, the church seems to always been ahead in terms of educational facilities.
Yes.
So, okay, maybe we'll talk about that when we come back.
Okay.
Let's take a break now. You're still on To Close Flow here on NT2 Lagos Network Center, and we have Samson Adedokun with us. He's a pastor, but also you can see that he's more than a pastor. He's probably going to be a politician very soon. Please stay with us.
Hi.
My name is Lillian Ama Aluko.
Ralph Adeleke.
Charles Novia.
Zach Oji.
I'm a writer,
Filmmaker. Comedian.
radio presenter,
Screenwriter.
Now is the time to act
Together.
Let's unite against
Cancer.
to do what?
Kick.
cancer.
Out of Nigeria.
How we can make our society a healthier one.
I will do it, you do it too.
To help kick cancer out of Nigeria, text. For more info, visit www.cecpng.org. Follow on Twitter at CECP Nigeria. Let's act. Attack cancer together. Proudly supported by
Yeah, we're quite delighted you're still with us here on the Close Flow, and Samson Adedokun is still here with us. You know, a very vibrant pastor of the Baptist Convention. Well, that is another issue I'm going to do. Well, we're going to talk about it. This is a conversation, so don't let me say I'm going to put him on the spot. Now, let's go back to this issue of leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership in educational provision, for instance, had been one of the biggest mandates, you know, of religious organizations. So let me just say churches, you know, because some Muslim, Islamic, you know, did the same thing. But now, even the churches, yes, they are building schools, but those schools are far too expensive. Samson, you must agree with me. I mean, it is impossible. It is nearly impossible for somebody in this environment to send a child to any of these mission schools now without having to steal. So why?
It's a valid concern. Students have to pay fees. It's a very valid concern. I cannot pretend about that. Why? Why do we have that situation? Facilities have to be provided. Staff have to be paid. I can speak honestly because I've had the privilege of working in our national office, and therefore I was privy to some of the happenings in setting up our own university, for instance. And I can speak as someone who was also pastoring in a Baptist church with members. You have staff who desire to be paid like every other person is
in the
paid
society,
in the society. Now, the church has to fund that. The church has to pay. If we're going to keep the right kinds of professors, the right kinds of lecturers, they have to be paid for. How do you pay that? There are only two ways. It's either your funding is improved to pay for that, or the fees, the tuition, will take care of the quality that you want to provide. Now, the funding from the church cannot be applied
Essentially
to institutions that are called schools. Aside from educational institutions like universities, the church has seminaries where we train pastors. The church has secondary schools. The church has medical institutions. The church has all kinds of
other social services
that they provide. So we can't take all the tithes and offering and say, don't worry about paying fees to this tune. Just pay 50 naira. We will subsidize every other thing. It's not feasible. It's not going to work. Today, the economy means that something has to be paid for. Unfortunately, in setting up the schools, many years ago, because this is where the confusion comes from, we talk about the missionaries who came, who set up the schools. Believe me, nothing is ever free in life. When the missionaries came and they set up schools, somebody paid for it in their country. Somebody paid for it in their country. I was privileged to go to a mission school, secondary school. The facilities were there. We paid a little bit, but not as people would want to talk about. Why? Somebody paid for it somewhere else. Somebody made a sacrifice that, okay, we are setting up a school there, paid for it. Nothing is ever free. So we need to wake up to some reality that, yes, mission schools are expensive, they are this, they are that, but believe me, if those schools were not even being subsidized by some measure, they would be more expensive than they are now.
Okay, now, so we have a flip side of this coin now, unfortunately. So we now have a revelation, obviously, that, look, even in the previous years, in the centuries past, we had some kind of angel investors who were funding, you know, the facilities being provided here. So what is happening to our own people here? We have rich men, we have rich women, we have millionaires, we have so... Can't they be persuaded to do what you just mentioned there?
Some of them are. Some of them are not. Every man's disposition is a choice that he makes between him and God. The church makes an appeal to say, members of the church, we have this institution, would you generously give? You see, as Baptists, we do not force. One of the things people have never understood about Baptists is our approach to how we believe God operates in our lives, which is that God works through every individual. When we share a vision, when we share an idea, we expect the individual to pray, to connect well with God, and let God say to him, yeah, go ahead and release that. Now, whether that individual is living a life that allows him to connect, and therefore to hear and do is another thing. So the church continues to make an appeal. a lot of the funds that go into these projects are because the church has said, please, let every family, let every individual give 5,000, 1,000, 1 million, 2 million, whatever you have, give. But you see, I cannot go to your house and say, because we are doing this, I know you are a rich man, therefore you must give me 10 million. I can't do that. Even though I'm your pastor, I can preach, I can appeal, I can call you, but you must make a choice, a decision about that. And there are many who are doing that. Many who are doing
Except
that.
that it's just not meeting the gap. Okay, now, let's come back to the question of gaps.
Yes.
Because it's not just an educational sector. Virtually every aspect of our lives now seems to be suffering one malay or the other. So now, can we begin to look at possible creative or more innovative solution to insecurity in the country? Do you think CAN, that is the Christian Nation of Nigeria, and all of that, can sit down and say, okay, look, maybe it's educational because it's saying we don't want Western education in the North, we don't want this, we don't want that, this is what we want. Can't we have a more creative solution to this insurgency problem in the country?
That's an area where I struggle a lot. I was born in Jos.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question.
I grew up living at peace with everyone. Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Birom, Angas. We literally lived together.
As neighbors, as brothers, as
neighbors,
sisters.
brothers. Believe me, there was not an iota of any doubt in our minds that we were people created and made by God. We valued one another's friendship. I had classmates whose homes were open to me. They were Hausas and they were Muslims. It didn't detract from my faith. I didn't try to undermine their own faith. It didn't stop me from sharing my faith. It didn't stop them from sharing theirs. So what has gone wrong? What can the church do? I really struggle because, you see, when...
Please don't struggle too much.
Okay.
Hello? Hello? Okay, we lost the caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, because when amongst religious leaders, there is antagonism already. In other words, when leaders in any part of the country are not going to allow a free flow of the other religion, it will create challenges. If I say to you, you cannot have any other thing here except this, automatically I feel oppressed. I want to react. And believe me, it is difficult to keep a man who you are oppressing forever down. At some point, you may want to react. Then there is also, in quote, radicalism. Teachings and preachings that seem to be so extreme. Nothing stops me, and I think we must all understand this. Nothing stops me from preaching solidly my convictions. But the preaching of that does not call to arms that you should fight me.
Yes.
No.
Hello, 1 second. We lost the caller. Please, would like to appeal to our viewers, just in case your voice call is not going through, you have a second number there that you can drop an SMS message so that we can therefore pass it on to our guests who will be willing to answer your question or react to your comment. Okay, so, yeah.
So I'm saying that when I teach, when I preach, if I call to arms and I say, Christians, these other people are your enemies,
yes,
you must
please
finish them, then there's a problem. So what can we do? Across leadership levels in CAN, in Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, there must be a talking, and not just a talking, there must be a genuine commitment to say, look, this cannot be right. This cannot be right. Whatever religion you belong to, whatever you preach that amounts to the destruction and the killing of life, the Bible says the devil comes only to steal, to kill, and to destroy. There's no other explanation. So you have got to avoid that.
Okay, now, I'm a little bit apprehensive, like most Nigerians, about 2015. Now, as a pastor,
Yes.
A shepherd of souls, what would you be saying to your congregation preparing for 2015?
You want to hear?
Yes.
First, I'll be saying pray. Second, I'll be saying plan. Third, I'll be saying participate.
Pray, plan,
Participate, yes.
Samson. Nigerians have been praying.
Nigerians have been praying, but have they been planning? You and I, have we been planning?
Now, you have to be now a little bit more.
Good. In the area I live, do I know who the councillor is? Do I know who the local government chairman is? Do I? I must begin now to engage with others around. I don't need to run for office, but if he's going to run for office, I should be able to know him, hold him accountable. We must begin to plan now. We must begin to network. Look, I'm sorry, but all of us who are educated need to ask ourselves, how have we allowed this situation to get to this point? How is it that across board we can claim to be so enlightened, and yet we are unable to wield any influence on what is happening in our politics? So we must plan now. Our professional bodies must plan now. You must ask yourselves, if you are a body of architects, what are we going to do
about all this?
As a body of bankers, as a body of pastors, as a body of teachers, it must not be only about minimum wage. Minimum wage will take care of itself if we get right people into leadership. Because policies of government will influence the economy. And therefore, there will be things that will change. We are going about it the wrong way. We must plan now, then we must prepare. What do I mean? You must sit now at home and talk with your wife and say, when election comes, we know the right candidate to vote for. I will vote for him. I will stay there. I will
make sure my vote counts.
If they refuse to bring that vote out, I, Samson Adedokun, pastor, who is not allowed as a pastor of the Baptist denomination to essentially begin to run for office, but is not prevented from fighting for his vote, will stay there and insist that his vote counts. If all members of my church will stand with me and say, we voted, this is who we voted for, these votes do not reflect what we gave. And we stay there. We must prepare now to say nobody is going to run away. If people are going to come with guns, if there are 1,001 of us staying there, let us see how they will kill us. After all, if they kill us, who will they rule? After they've killed us, who will they rule? After they finished us, which business will they run to get money? Who is going to go to the oil rigs if all the men who should go to the rig were killed by the people who wanted to be elected? So we must pray, we must plan, we must prepare.
I like that. I like the approach you have taken. In our fact, we've had some guests who have said to us that less than 1% of the entire population of Nigeria actually wields, economic or political power. So if they are going to do what they are saying, that means they have to kill almost 150 million. Okay, now, but let's come to how we cannot practicalize this.
Yes.
So is it a question of that who's going to be educating the voters, the audience, the masses? Would that be the political parties? Or would that be INEC? Or would that be faith-based organizations like churches, like mosques? So whose responsibility is this? Hello, morning.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. Good morning. We would like to appeal to our viewers again a second time. Please, if you're having problems, getting through to us with your voice message, with a voice call, there's a second number on the screen where you can send us SMS, and we can then take that out from the phone and give it to our guests, and you'll be able to listen to answer your question or your comment. Okay, yes. So, whose responsibility do you think it is?
I was smiling as we were asking that question, because clearly we can't leave it to the political parties. Very clearly, I mean, without apologies. The political parties, as we have them today, are a big challenge to us. All of us don't need to be inside to see what's going on. So we can't leave it to them. So let's not worry too much about them as in terms of educating the people. But the church must educate. As pastor, every time I preach a message in church, it is with a goal to cause the mindset of my people to look for what is a higher value, what is the ideal, what is the best. So even by that preaching, I am preparing my people. By talking about what a man ought to be, I don't need to preach about a party. I don't need to talk about vote for this party or vote for that person. But look, I can talk about values. I can talk about standards. I can talk about ideals. And when people listen to me, they can take a back seat and say, okay, who stands out on the basis of ideals? Who stands out on the basis of values? Whose lifestyle represents what we would like to have in office? And then people can begin to take that. So, yes, the church must speak to that. Pastors must preach. Muslim clerics must preach.
1 second. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Quickly, your question or your comment before you draw the line again. Quickly. Oh, that's very sad. Okay, right. So the church must be able to do that. Yes. Besides the church, of course, they, like you said before, other organized bodies should be able to also do that.
They should.
Yeah. Now, but let's come to something that I don't want to run away from it, but it's because it's always present on the table anytime we're having a guest here. People have, expressed their opinions, about this issue of child marriage, issue of one custom being archaic and therefore is moribund, should be removed from the constitution and all that. And some people say, no, this is our own, private. You think it's something we can bring into politics?
Child marriage. A simple question. Would you ask a 9-year-old girl or 10-year-old girl to drive you from home to work?
When she cannot drive, or she has a license?
I mean, even give her a license. Put her to drive and put all the downfall drivers in Lagos on the road with her. Would you trust your life to the hands of a 9-year-old to drive? I mean, even giving a driver's license, we don't give it to people at that age. In one of my books, Ribbons and Rings, I talk about the principles that should lead to your thinking about marriage, for instance. First, the principle of social maturity.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Can I be on to the pastor?
Yes, you can be on to the pastor. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mr. calling from VI.
Okay, go ahead, ask a question quickly, please.
I totally agree with everything you are saying, Pastor. The question is this: how can you take this message outside the church to lead in with the parks, schools, etc.? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you asking that question. I think, first of all, if you read my books, you would get an idea. That's why I'm writing. That's why I'm publishing. Ribbons and Rings, Dress to Kill, Wisdom of the Wise, all kinds of books that I'm writing, putting my thoughts on paper for people to read and become inspired enough to work on that. Secondly is that, yes, I'm here today with NTA. That's one opportunity. You have heard me. You become the next voice. Don't wait for me. I can't reach everyone. Other people can't reach everyone. You can reach somebody. Tell them about the ideas. Let's begin to network. Go online. Connect with me on Facebook. Connect with other people. Let's build a bond. Let's begin to network together. So those are the things that we can do really right now.
I like that. I hope our viewer got the gist of what he's saying, because he's saying that you have taken the baton from him now. The information has been passed on to you. You therefore